Yo! Hey guys, how you doing? Wow, it's been a long time. So let me know in the comments if you can hear me, and then we'll move forward with the show. So we're going to get into the subject at hand. I want to look at the tech situation in terms of jobs. So the headline of this show is 93% of graduates in tech are getting jobs, but 7% aren't. So we're going to look at that, and we're going to look at various companies. I found an interesting article on TechCrunch about this. And we're going to comment on the future of software development, what to expect, and so forth. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you can hear me or not. So then I will move forward. Yeah, so there's a bit of a latency here, so I'm just waiting for the comments to come in. That's about it. I hope everything is good with you guys. So bottom line is, we're hearing a lot about the tech layoffs these days. A lot of tech companies laying off, rather. I think that you got to dig a little bit deeper before you have a firm opinion about things. So number one, you're going to see a lot of layoffs in the tech companies are not software developers. A lot of layoffs are actually middle management people. You can hear me well. Good. Hey, how you guys doing, man? So we got the gang. I'm going good. How about you? Cheers. Well, welcome to the stream. We're going to bring in the old Code Long and Profit thing. It's been a long time. Wow. You know, I'm in the mood to start streaming again. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, good. All right. So thanks for coming to stream. It's been a long time. So we got some old timers, I would imagine, here. Appreciate it. I miss doing the streams, to be honest with you. A lot of fun. That's why I did them for so long. I think I'm going to do them again. And I want to reconnect with the community again. It's fun for me. And but how the actual show is going to go, we'll have to see over time. So let me just jump into the subject at hand. This article here, and then we will I'll do some Q&A for you guys. So let's see what we got here. Boom. All right, there we go. High-end production. All right, so let me know if anything ever happens in terms of sound and so on. So this is a TechCrunch article, comprehensive list of 2025 tech layoffs. So September is 2,000 layoffs, August 6,000, July 16, 1,600, 10,000, 24,000. But let's dig a little deeper. Rivian, 600 jobs, so 4% of its workforce. Meta, 600 employees. It's not even 1% of the workforce. But I think they laid off like 10,000 in previous times. If you have questions, get ready to put them to me. Once I cover this article, I will get to some Q&A with you guys. Yeah, all right. Just Eat for 50, Fiverr, they did big, 30% of their workforce. And now I don't know what percentage of their workforce was technology people. You know, because when they say a comprehensive list of tech layoffs, they just mean layoffs in tech companies. So it's not necessarily developers. In fact, a lot of them are not developers. ZipRecruiter, 80 jobs. It all sounds bad, right? When you look at it from, 500 jobs. Rivian, 200 jobs. But at the end of the day, really, it's a tiny percentage of their workforce collectively. You know, when they lay off 161 jobs, this is like, it's not even close to 1%, you know? So that's what you got to look at. No. So what's Intel? Well, Intel is crashing like crazy. It's 500 employees. So what happened? Oh, Microsoft, 9,000 employees, which is 4% of its global workforce. I think they're going to reduce a little bit more. But so you can see across the board, I can get out of this, I think. Hold on. Don't need to see me twice. So across the board, we're seeing a lot of layoffs, but it's a very small, thin percentage. And as I said on pre-recorded videos, is three things are happening. Number one, there's over-hiring during the COVID years. Number two, we're seeing a slowdown in the economy. That's happening. That's normal, by the way. If you're new to the game, if you're younger, the economies do this all the time. That's why you have to save. You have to be wary of lifestyle creep. So when you start making your coder bucks or any bucks, you got to put away, I recommend at least 6 months worth of cash. At least 6 months. I don't sleep well unless I have at least a couple of years of cash. This is outside of your long-term savings and so on. This is so you don't have to worry about the next paycheck. I heard something like 60% of Americans, same thing with Canadians, they live paycheck to paycheck. So you have to get your finances in order. Anyway, back to tech. Yeah, so a lot of the, so that was the second reason. The second reason was overhiring during COVID. First reason, no, that's the first reason. Second reason was slowdown in the economy. And the third reason is AI. But as you see with any new tech, people behind the technology, this case behind AI, they're saying, oh, AI can do everything. And then there's a big push out, and now there's a pullback. You see a lot of people are commenting on that. A lot of companies are starting to comment on that, but they're not seeing nearly the productivity gains that they expected with AI. And some AI people, and I'll cover in other streams, so some people in the AI business are saying, yeah, you got to expect this. You got to expect the mistakes. And they're right, because I remember back in the 90s when the web first came out, there were a lot of web companies, guys. They went nowhere. You know, the .com era, like the most famous, I think, perhaps is pets.com. I remember I was in the pet business at the time. I wasn't in the technology business. And I dealt in rare fish, and I had a line of water purification products and other things. And I remember looking at pets.com, and I was building simple websites at the time for myself, for my own business, and I did some side gigs as well. Anyway, I remember looking, I said, this is crazy. There's nothing here with pets.com. There's nothing here. So you always see when the new technology comes out, you see this big growth and then there's retraction. You see all these big claims and then retraction. So for example, how many years has Elon Musk been touting self-driving cars where you'd buy a Tesla and then the Tesla would pay itself off by doing taxis rides for you? That was the pitch, right? Remember, that was like 10 years ago. We're getting there, but it's taken 10 years. Yeah, so same thing with AI. So if you're worried about AI, if you watch my videos, you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say embrace it, learn it. Consider AI just another level of abstraction in the tool set. What does that mean in non-nerd? That means it's just another tool that will take care of some of the boilerplate crap code that you don't want to write in the first place. By the way, if you use JavaScript, if you use Python, if you use Node, if you use React, if you use Next.js, you're using different layers of abstraction. What we have today with tools like React and Next they did not exist back in the 90s and the early 2000s. When I was first developing, we had to do all this plumbing from scratch. So same thing with content management systems. I remember back in the day, we used to build content-rich sites using HTML. And then we got really creative, and we would do server-side includes for consistent menu items and so forth. Then we did there was client-side includes with tools like Dreamweaver and stuff. So this is par for the course. So all these all these tech layoffs that we're seeing here, all these tech layoffs, they're, again, they're very marginal. With some a clue. Why did you 85 employees, which is 40% of their workforce? 85, that's a small company, A small company or anything under 50 million in sales. So this company is tiny. I don't know why they bother. So Google has downsized its smart TV division by 25%, a 300-member team, which is still less than 1% of their overall Google hires, right? Again, it sounds bad, but this is some small, tiny division of the experiment, smart TV, and of course it's not doing well. So they cut. That's just normal. Intel, I'm surprised. These guys, they're in big trouble. So it was 108,000. So they laid off 20%. Yeah, but this Intel's in a free fall. It's in a free fall, man. What else we got here? Microsoft, we did that. Okay, him's her. I don't know what that is. So Amazon's cutting a lot. They just announced a pretty big cutoff. Let me zoom in here, actually. They just announced a pretty big cut down employees. Again, it's all middle management. Like if you're a paper shuffler, yeah, you're in trouble. You're in trouble a little bit. But, again, people come here for solutions. Again, my commentary here is based on, my experience. So let me go back here. So again, the key to all this in terms of a career is to keep learning. You got to keep learning. Yeah. And today, where's that? I did a diagram actually recently. Today, you want to keep learning, but you want to keep learning the new stuff, right? You want to get into the new stuff. So I've seen a few evolutions in the tech space. And so, when I got into it in 94, I don't know if you can see this. So 1994, thick client development was all the rage. So then 95 comes around, so you have me here. That's me when I had all my hair. And I got into web dev early on. And so I started making a lot of money because I was early in the game. There's hardly any competition. That's the key. So we move over today, and you see AI-assisted development. That's where you're going to see a lot of opportunity. That's where you want to go. Now, exactly how that's going to work out I know how it's going to work out. So what I did to help you with your understanding of how to position AI, you got two ways of using AI. You can use AI to augment traditional development, and you can use AI, you can create AI-first applications, where it's mainly, it's a chat interface, or it could be a visual interface. That's another trend I mentioned before. The GUI, graphical user interfaces, are going to become less important over time. I didn't say they're going to disappear. They become less important because of all the different type of interfaces. The chat, back to chat. Chat comes before the GUI, the rise of GUI, by the way, in the 80s. Text-only interfaces were that's the way we did things. Anyway, so I forgot my train of thought. Yeah, you want to get into the AI. So yeah, I trained an AI fitness coach, basically a custom GPT, and I spent about 3.5, 4 months training it daily. Some days would be half an hour, other days would be 2 hours. So I did this because I wanted to learn about creating an AI-first application. B, I also wanted it. I wanted this AI fitness coach to help me with my own fitness needs, if you will. So it's pretty cool. But what I learned working with the AI chatbots is that what happens with the big, large language models, rather, whether it be Gemini, et cetera, they can take you like 50% of the way there pretty easily, maybe 70% of the way there. But that last 50%, the last 30%, even the last 10% makes all the difference in terms of the effectiveness of an app. So that's the big problem with the large language models. They look really great until that last 10% of the way, they fall and they start hallucinating. And they start going and giving you all kinds of crazy answers, or they start deleting entire databases. It's like, if you watch my video from yesterday, the guy who coined the term vibe coding, he released a new app, and he admitted he didn't vibe code it because it couldn't get it to work with vibe coding with the latest models. So I'm not crapping on AI. I'm just saying it's not nearly as big as people think it is in terms of the threat to programmers. It's just a great tool to use to speed up things. So I built my AI first application with ChatGPT, and then what I did is then I used AI to help me debug a server problem. And it was very useful. It took like maybe 2 hours of work and brought it down to, 5 minutes or something. And again, what I did is I had a server problem with a legacy app, web app. So I got the log files And instead of me spending 20 minutes looking through the log files, I just dumped the log files in ChatGPT. Did I use Gemini or I used GPT? And it was able to find the answer for me like this. So instead of 20 minutes, I got it done in like a minute. And then I showed it the error I was generating, and I said, it looks like a config change. And they said, yeah, it's a config change. And then I was able to put in, it was a custom app, so I was able to put in the name of the app, and ChatGPT was able to tell me, okay, you got a config file here, and you got a config file here. If anybody of you has experience with especially legacy apps, you may have multiple, for example, htaccess files, or if you're in the PHP world, multiple PHP INI files floating around, and there's a hierarchical impact of where a particular INI file or htaccess file is. So if you have a subdirectory in your application, your web app, and you have an INI file there, that will override the global INI file at the root of your app. So sometimes it can F you up, just like CSS can do that as well with the cascade. Anyway, so it was able to basically speed up the process. I was grateful for it because I don't want to spend 20, 25 minutes going through config files, trying to, server dumps, trying to figure out where things are, or have to go look around on Google to find out where the particular config file for a particular application is. It's an open source app. So yeah, there you go. So that's how I used AI in two different ways, right? And I wanted to learn, at least get my head wrapped around AI in terms of software development. I've never done vibe coding. Well, I did actually do a little bit of vibe coding. Vibe coding has its place for, I think, prototype work. It has its place for one-off jobs. So, like, the debugging is not really development. Well, I guess it is development, but let's say you have a little project that you got to do for a company. I don't know, they need to create a little web app based on Google Sheets, and they want to log employees. So what you could do is you could use GPT to speed that whole process up. There might be some agents that will do that as well. So instead of you spending a couple of days on it, you spend like 4 hours on it, right? And you deliver the project that way. And that's cool. Now that works in that context because it's not super complex. It's a relatively simple application, and you're not trying to do everything. That's the problem with AI. If you try to have it do the whole thing, it can get you into trouble real fast. And like any code generation tools, they have a narrow scope of efficiency, and then after you go outside of that, then they fall down. Just like that guy was saying yesterday, the vibe code guy. You can go watch my video from yesterday, look into that. Yeah, so when you are working with AI, you should really double down on one of the fundamental principles of software development, and that is the separation of concerns. There we go, separation. I need more coffee. People ask me, why do you go for coffee, Stef? Well, because I want to get up and walk around. When you work at the desk all day, if you're a professional developer and you're a desk worker, I advise you to do what I call micro exercises, at least once every hour. Whether you go for a 10-minute walk, whether you do 10 push-ups, 20 front kicks, whatever it is, you want to get the body going, you know? So that's why I get coffee. It gives me an excuse to go somewhere. Yeah, how we doing? All right, 75 people, very small stream. See, that's what happens when you're not consistent. I used to get like 300 people live and 5,000 people would stream. But, you know, it's been like a long time, so I don't. So yeah, if you can give me some thumbs, I would appreciate the thumbs if you like this stream. So I'm about to start taking questions on. So if you have any questions about this subject or any other subject, you know, let's see what else that they got in here. Give me a second here. Boom. Boom. All right, so we got here Chegg, 22%, but Chegg, again, you know, you get these companies that get a lot of press, but they're relatively small companies. When 22% of your workforce is 248, it's a decent-sized company, but it's not like a huge company. Match, Well, yeah, they deserve to lose. Everybody. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. General Fusion has cut 25%. So yeah, you see some deep cuts, but where you're seeing the deep cuts are typically in companies that are startups, non-profitable companies. I appreciate the thumbs. Like some of these companies, I never heard of Cars, right? GM, Zopper, I never heard of Zopper. Toro, I never heard of them. Goop Shoop, I don't know who these guys are. Forto, maybe I'm old. Wire, Wickersoft, I don't know, I never heard of them. Five9, never heard of them. I've heard of them. Hundreds of employees, that's like less than 1%. You know, Microsoft, I think they're laying off another 14,000, but they got like 300,000 employees or something, you know? What else? Canva, okay, I heard of them. So they're laying off technical writers. Yeah, well, of course, you know. What else do you got? North Vote, I don't know who these are. 62% of the staff. Yeah, no kidding. I don't know who they are. Block, who's Block? Bright Cove, I heard of them. I don't know these guys. Okay, Sequoia, yeah. So see, again, a lot of these companies, HelloFresh, I would consider them very, 22 jobs. Why even mention this? I've cut 22 jobs. Like, what's the point of that? TikTok, 300 in Dublin, roughly 10% of the company's workforce in Ireland. So they cut 10% of their workforce just in Ireland. So it's really tiny. So I think the big problem, I'll leave this subject in about 2 seconds now. The big problem really in the game today, it's not so much cutting, it's so much not hiring new people as much. So what do? What's the solution? I'm always here for solutions. Again, get your foundations down. I always recommend the web because it's maximum flexibility. Go out there, do 2 to 3 free projects for small startups, nonprofits. You want to get your hands dirty in code. Most people who come out of universities or especially boot camps, they're not really competent at all, unfortunately. Not all, but most. So that's a problem. So that's why they're always looking for experienced people. So how do you show your experience? By building things. Don't get caught up in tutorial hell. You know, I could probably generate a ton of money by creating this tutorial and that tutorial and this tutorial and that tutorial. No, I got my foundational stuff, and that's all you need. Away you go. You build something, and you just build 2 or 3 projects, build up your resume, become useful. And again, the last thing, you have to get into the AI. Those who early adopt AI technologies learn its strengths, its weaknesses, learn when GPT is better, when Gemini is better, when Grok is better, and so on, Claude is better. Think of each of these large language models and the associated array of secondary technologies that are related to the models. Consider these like programming languages, like libraries, like frameworks. They're tools to leverage. So just like when React first came out, a lot of React developers were getting jobs like crazy because of the new hot tech. People who embrace the LLM, the AI architecture of technologies, were going to do very, very well. Like I was mentioning, within a period of like a month or 2 weeks, I had like 4 different businesses reach out to me looking to, they were desperately looking to hire people, developers who knew AI because they had some AI implementations they wanted to put into place, right? So there you go, that's the solution. All right, we're gonna do, we'll do a little Q&A. I get myself into position here. Here we go. We're going to, so if you got questions, I will start answering now. So I'm just going to run through. So if you're watching the stream for the first time, thanks for coming. Thanks for the thumbs up if you like this type of stream. I will answer any questions. If you don't know who I am, I'm Uncle Stef. I've been writing professional code, meaning being paid to code, since 1994, 95. And I'm a serial tech entrepreneur. My game, though, has not been to build huge corporations. When I had one of my businesses starting to build, I actually shut it down because I didn't like having lots of staff and all that kind of stuff. What I've done over the decades, besides freelance, is to build my own little SaaS products that produced passive income for me. I still have passive income generating businesses that I haven't touched in like 20 years. They still make me money. It's unbelievable to me. If I would have known they would still be making me money 25 years later, I would have pushed them harder, made them a bit bigger. But they're still making, they pay for the cars. But yeah, that's what I do. So everything that I teach is based on real world experience. I built projects for huge corporations, multinationals, big pharma, banks. Recently, I've been doing a lot of marketing work, strangely enough. My biggest gig was with PayPal. Worked with PayPal, Docker, JetBrains, Wix. So I'm doing that kind of stuff now. Yeah, serial entrepreneur. So that's who you're talking to here. So just so you get an idea where I'm coming from. All right, DV Dragon. I remember you. How you doing? So we'll do some quick Q&A here. Do you think the future of LLMs will be smaller, specialized models, especially local hosted? An LLM for a mechanic does not need to generate term papers of criminal justice theories or plan vacations. A short answer is yes. I'm already starting to see it. So there's this company I did an ad for called Abacus about a month ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And that's what they've done. They've leveraged several LLMs, and they've created a bunch of agents. Agents are basically just AI models that do things on their own. You say, hey, okay, book me a ticket. That's an agent booking. A booker agent. There we go. So the agents that they built a whole bunch of them, and they would use different models. So my friend's in the AI agent business, and he builds customized agents for a very specific niche in his industry. And so he'll leverage multiple models to do this. So yeah, you're going to have the whole game of leveraging AI is about, again, back to separation of concerns, meaning you don't want to try to have an AI that does everything. You want to have an AI that does something very specialized. So you're right. It's about specializations with these AI tool sets. It's about specializations. It's kind of like, I'll make an analogy, it's kind of like programming languages. C++, C, you could build web apps with C, C++. You'd be silly to do that, but you could, because the language under JavaScript is C, right? It's C and C++, I think. The language under Java, a lot of it is C, C++, so on and so forth. So you could build these tools and everything that you do in JavaScript, everything that you do in Java, you could do with C or C++. You'd be crazy to do it because it would take you 10 years to get something done that's already done. So, but you got to look at the LLMs as that fundamental building block AI models for you to leverage to make more specialized models. So when I built my fitness AI, it's called Brad Fit, the fitness AI. It is a very specialized GPT. The core functionality, only ChatGPT had it at the time. I would have to check now if Grok could do it or Gemini could do it. But at the time, only GPT had this one capability that it could do. But it was the basis of it. So it got half of it done out of the box. So I kept prompting it and giving it structure. So what I had to do is I had to give it a broad structure in terms of a framework in which it would operate. And then that helped a lot. And then as I was working with the AI over a few months, I had to deal with all the edge cases. You know how AIs can go off on these crazy hallucinatory tangents and take you all over the place, and next thing you know, you're nowhere. So I had to train it over months to mitigate for that. So I basically narrowed its scope of, its task scope. There you go. I hope that helps. The economy has been pretty rough at the moment indeed. Yeah, it is. So that's why when you do It will pass, by the way. This is always through cycles. So if you're feeling like shite now, I understand. It will pass, right? It will pass. So what you got to do now is you got to train up, pull in your cut your spending, look to optimize spending. I remember it was in the mid 90s. So I had sold my first business, but I didn't do too well with that sale. I made a few peanuts, but I sold it, it's got out. And then I remember to transition from the old to the new, it was difficult. And then it was pretty damn difficult at some point. I remember one point, this is why I always decide to keep at least a year of cash on hand, at least a year. Because one time I was in a difficult stage, transition from the old business, because I went into a court case, all the money I had left in the business, I had no money. So I'm in a little apartment, I had no money, and I'm paying the rent on the 21st of the month because I'm broke. Totally broke. I didn't want to get a job, so I'm scrapping for gigs, And I remember when I got a gig and I got a check, okay, I finally get paid so I can go buy food. I was eating a lot of ramen. And good thing my grandparents were like 10 blocks away. I could go eat at their place. I was lucky that way. Anyway, so I remember I go to the store and I buy some groceries. And I go to the store and I'm buying groceries and I get to the cash. And there's this beautiful cashier. I'm a young guy at that time too. Ooh. And I remember she's so hot. And she made a play for me. And then I go to pay and the card would, I didn't have the cash. The card wouldn't pass because they froze my money. And I had to leave the groceries there because I had no money. I couldn't access the money because I had no savings and I was living paycheck to paycheck at that point. And I was so embarrassed. And I said, after that, never again. Never again. So once I got back on my feet, I made sure I had at least enough money in the first 3 months worth of cash. So then you have 6 months of cash in the bank, cover all your expenses. Feeling okay. Then you have a year, you start feeling pretty good. When you have 2 years and more cash saved up in emergency money, now you're feeling very good. So yeah, it will pass. Economies do this. So you have to, when you have money, save. When you have a bunch of cost, start evaluating where you spend your money. I remember a few years later, I had a bunch of debt. I was like, what the hell, where did all this debt come from? And I realized I was spending like $700 a month. In those days would be equivalent, I don't know, $1,200, $1,300 a month on crap, just on crap, on coffees and all kinds of subscriptions to things I never used. So yeah, you gotta be on top of your finances as you work through things. Yes. Okay, I don't know what that is. Something I'm noticing with AI in the workplace is more expectation. Non-coder employees think everything should be done instantly now. It's madman. Yeah, that will pass. Wow, nice. But don't you think even that might be too complex to leave AI alone? I'm not sure what that is. But don't you think even that might be too complex to leave AI? I'm not sure what the context is, man. Appreciate it. What does life look like for you as a developer these days, Stefan? Do you primarily work in education or also run your own software company? So my main business for about 14, 15 years, was one of them, was Studioweb. This is a educational platform, interactive training, and it's also a classroom and to a limited extent, school management tool. And so I've been in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of districts, thousands and thousands of schools over the years. And that has been the business for a long time. I still deal with the schools, but much less now because I've done it for 14 years, enough. I've decided I want to do other things. So do I code often? No, not anymore. Once in a while, I'll jump into something because I got so many things going on. It's like I just don't have time to get into the weeds of these things. So I'm fortunate enough I can pick and choose what I want to do. So these days, I've been working, strangely enough, like I mentioned, a lot of marketing gigs. I'm doing like, by any measure, I'm doing pretty substantial marketing gigs with big companies. What does that mean? Well, they contract with me to produce a video or produce messaging for a new product that they're coming out. It's a lot of fun. Bobita, starting a web SaaS in 2025, what would you recommend? Go JSTS, full stack, or use some PHP with Laravel 2? Don't say to use whatever already familiar with, because is effing Java and some vanilla JS. First thing I would say that you should do is look at the job opportunities around you. That being said, if you want to freelance, it's PHP, Laravel, WordPress with AI. If you want to work for larger corporations, it's going to be JS, TS, Java, C#. So it depends what you want to do. As you become more senior, you will move from language to language. That's very common for developers. In my career writing commercial code, I've written commercial code in 9 languages over, once I did a lot of stuff with Java, but some stuff with PHP, some stuff with VB script, believe it or not, and some weird languages like Lingo. When I did DVD, I used to do DVD-ROM educational course authoring. They had this domain language called Lingo, which was an object-oriented language from hell, but it worked. So I did DVD-ROM educational apps for big pharma, Avantis and Merck, believe it or not. Amazon is laying off 30,000. Yes, they are, but apparently it's a lot of middle management people. Those are the people who are in big trouble, by the way. The paper shufflers. Those guys. The paper shufflers, they're in trouble. Because the AI can shuffle papers like the best of them. So again, I'm not going to repeat myself. You know what I say. Oh yeah, Amazon layoff is wild. Yeah. How would you suggest a blind guy to proceed with all this? I'm learning PHP again. What should my roadmap be? So I assume physically blind. That is very interesting. Well, I would become an expert in being productive with tool sets, given you're blind. I would look in the AI. Maybe you could ask AI to help you. Maybe there's there's definitely AI tools out there for the blind. And maybe you can become an expert in that area, because a lot of governments, especially in the US and Canada, they will have money set aside, and I would imagine Europe too, specifically to fund research and implementations that are useful for the blind. So it's that's what I would suggest you do. Lean into that. Like, you, as a blind guy, are in a much better position to develop applications and solutions for blind people than me. I'm sighted. So that's how I would do it. So lean into that. It's like a principle. I used to do a lot of combat sports. I did combat sports for 25 years and been in a lot of fights. And one thing I learned is that you gotta play to your strengths. So if you're tall, you gotta fight tall. The big mistake that tall fighters will make is they'll crouch low when they're taller than their opponent. If your opponent is shorter than you, you want to stay tall. On the other hand, if your opponent is taller than you, you want to use your lack of height as an advantage by doing some crouching and bobbing and weaving and so forth. So play into your strengths. Your strength is you're blind, so you're in a better position to develop blind-oriented applications than other people. I hope that helps. Hi, Stef. Are you not worried about the economy? Well, I think the economy could have some problems. I would look at states or countries that are investing heavily into business and cutting regulations. This is based on my 36 years of business experience. Those countries that do that tend to bounce back fast and hard. That's number one. Number two, I'm older than all of you, I would imagine. So I walk my talk. I've been saving and investing for a long time. I don't need to work. So am I worried about it? I'm worried about it for younger people. I'm worried about it for people who didn't take care of themselves financially and physically. But personally, it's more of an inconvenience for me, in all honesty. So even if, so there you go. Another thing I want to point out is you want to get healthy, by the way. If you're older watching this, damn, get healthy. If you're younger watching this, stay healthy, Eat natural foods, exercise on a regular basis. Trust me, that's the best investment you can make in your whole life is that. So do that, especially for us coders and developers and ass sitters. What are we doing here? All right, we're 40 minutes in. I'll do the hour. Hey, we got 100 viewers. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the stream. I appreciate the thumbs up, guys. Sharing the links, asking the questions. I used to do these all the time. I think I'm going to start doing them again. I have some ideas about what I want to do with the live streams. Let me know if you like the conversation here. So Ben O says, that's basically what I do in my day job. I create personas leveraging larger LLMs to work with specific knowledge bases, also some agentic stuff. Yeah, perfect. That's it, exactly. Guys, the AI time, I believe this is one of the biggest opportunities, if it is not the biggest opportunity for developers in my lifetime. I think this is massive opportunity for people. So I'm excited. So, for example, I developed an AI-first fitness app, and I think it blows away anything else is out there. It's based on my principles: psychology first, keto adjacent, pulsing technique, blah, blah, blah. It's very powerful. And companies who leverage AI smartly, not just trying to throw everything at an AI, like Ben O has got it, right? He's creating very specialized personas, specialized models based on an LLM. You got to choose which LLM is best. You may pass on the information from LLM to create your agent. So, for example, I have a friend of mine. Part of his he has an end product in one of his agents. So he'll start off with GPT-3 because he's paying less for tokens than with 4 or 5, and then he'll pass the response from 3 to Gemini. And then from Gemini, he'll pass that result to Grok. You get the idea? So this orchestration of large language models to get a very effective agent implementation, that's the value. Very few people in the world do this. That's why you can make a lot of money. So if you're feeling bad about the economy, I understand. But I'm giving you the formulas, the keys based on real world experience. Hey, Stef, what's your opinion about Go? I have not used Go, Victor, but I've heard good things about it. If it's effective for you, then use it. I'm at the point, and you'll get to that point at some point, where for me, when I choose a technology or I'm looking at a language, for me, it's always about, okay, what's the job here? Right? There are jobs where Go will be the best choice, and I'll use Go there. But there'll be other jobs where, I don't know, PHP will be the best choice. I'll use that. So yeah, if it works for you, use it. It's been ported to TypeScript and seems to eventually overcoming all the ecosystem. Very good. Well, if it works for you, fantastic. The only thing I would say with regards to any technology choices that you make sure you don't find yourself orphaned or stranded You may find a tech that's the best ever, but if it gets abandoned by the community, and then you find yourself, lights are going down, hold on. If you find yourself alone with a technology nobody uses, that could be a bad place to be. I've been there. Sebastian, hey man, how are you? So you think it's better now, build your own SaaS or get a developer job? See, whether you build your own SaaS or get a developer job is largely a personality thing. I know people who've done fantastic building $1 billion. One of my former students, he built a $1 billion business with his partner, a startup. He's done very well. Me, I made my money by building little products and a lot of passive income products over the years. That's done well for me. I have other friends who retired nice 50. One of my friends, they retired 52 years old, never had a business, but just worked in as developers for years, but they saved and invested. Now they're fully retired, very comfortable. So you can make it in all these different ways. You can make a ton of money doing WordPress implementations. I think the low-hanging fruit now is anything AI, whether it be job or freelancer or start a SaaS, it's AI-based. But which route you take largely depends on your personality. Do you like working with other people? Do you like structure? Or do you want to create your own structure? Do you have discipline to work on your own? Like, I'm comfortable working on my own. But on the flip side, I always live like in cores of cities. So for me, when I'm finished the stream, I'll step outside and I'll be right downtown at the heart of Montreal, major city. So I get my interaction with people. But if you work alone, developing your own SaaS, especially in the early days, you're going to be working alone. So you got to be comfortable with that. Hey, Alper, how are you? It has been a long time. Code Long and Profit. Let me know if you like the contents of it's getting dark here. There we go. All right. Let me know if you like this stuff. What do you think about cybersecurity? It's viable. If you like cybersecurity, do it. But again, do some job research. As you learn tech, you need to, you have to be aware of what the opportunity is around you. So I would look at, personally today, if you're interested in cybersecurity, I would cybersecurity and AI. Look at AI tools related to cybersecurity because that's where the openings are going to be. Cybersecurity interested businesses, whether they do it or need it, they're going to be thinking about, okay, how does AI impact cybersecurity? So if you're an AI cybersecurity expert who knows a little bit of coding, you got to know how to code, you're going to be in a good position. Do you recommend learning the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? Yeah, 100%. That is the top thing. If I didn't think it was useful anymore, I would pull down my interactive curriculum on the subjects. Yeah, it's a top thing. Why? Because they're used by small, large, medium-sized businesses, used in corporate America. It is used in startups. There's such a huge base of web apps and websites out there. There's such a legacy. That stuff is going to have to be maintained for years. So what I recommend people do today is learn the web stack, then AI. Web stack and AI. Emmanuel, train up, optimize spending, 100%. 100%. If you had been listening to me for the last few years, this downturn would be nothing more of an inconvenience for you because you would have been very well trained up. You would have a bunch of money saved up and you wouldn't worry about paying the bills. We had a chat about 6 months ago. It has been 3 months now. I have a job, and part-time job, both working as a Shopify developer. Thanks for the advice. Hey, cool, man. Mr. Azrat, good job. Good stuff. You got to be flexible in mind. Take the jobs, make the money, especially when you're younger. When you're younger, you're full of energy, right? You're full of energy. So that's the time to take the jobs, whatever the jobs come, work extra long hours, because when you get old and decrepit like me, the energy is not there as much, unless you work out a lot. You have to work out a lot. How are we doing here? All right. Stef, if you feel the same way I do, the web ecosystem is changing. Oracle was sued for JavaScript type copyright. TS was ported to Go. AI surge. What's next? That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what the next thing is AI, but it's not going to be in the way that people think. I think it's going to be specialized implementations. There are just in the U.S. I heard there's like 30 million small businesses just in the U.S., and a lot of them are going to be looking for AI trained and AI experts who can help them with certain implementations. So yeah. Top Striker Academy says, I'm building automations for healthcare clinics. My code works well and it has no bugs from my testing, but it is fully built with AI. Is there something I should be careful about when production? Now, the only thing, I don't know what the code base is like. I don't know how complex your app is, etc. The only thing is that typically typically code that is generated by bots and tools are infamously difficult to expand and maintain over time. So that would be my concern, is that. So, but good job. Good job. Hey, I'm in my final year CS degree. What language should I focus on for job prospects future-proof? I can go into full stack JS or Python backends. Both. I am learning AI integrations. It's all good. Start researching the job opportunities in your area. You know, you find that different parts of the world, there'll be different opportunities. So start looking at job opportunities in your area. That's what I would say. How we do it? Ooh, all right. Talking about that, what is your thoughts about SEO? The new ChatGPT browsers could disrupt Google monopoly. I do a lot of marketing. Since I've been paid, since I've been doing I did marketing work for some of the big players. I guess that makes me a marketing knowledgeable. So that being said, the key these days, and I've been saying for years, even before AI, the key these days is brand, not websites necessarily, although having a good website is important. So you want to have, if you were setting up, so SEO, search engine optimization, is basically, at the end of the day, it means how much presence do you have on the web? How easy it is for people to find a particular company or brand on the web. That's what SEO is all about when you boil it down. You got to have a wide distribution. You got to be on the different socials. You got to be, depending on the type of business that you have, it could be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X. You have to have a social presence. Google My Business. So SEO these days is not so much about tinkering with code and keywords, although you got to be cognizant of the terminology people are going to be using to find you. But it's much more about having a cohesive web marketing program. So SEO is much more about web marketing. Is DevOps still needed in tech companies? Yeah, it's still needed. I think, though, they're going to be implementing more AI tools to automate the process. Okay, I got that one. Okay, is that amazing? Hi, I'm a big fan. I learned a lot from your videos. Great. I'm glad I could help, Adrian. All right, I'll be dealing with the last questions of the day. Is YouTube your side hustle? YouTube was a hobby because I wanted to learn cameras. I'm like, if you knew how many cameras I have, this is one of them. I have many other cameras. If you knew how many cameras I had. So anyway, I wanted to learn videography, so I decided to do YouTube years ago. And it's become a great tool for marketing. People, PayPal, Wix, Docker, all these companies that contracted with me in the last year, they found me because of YouTube, and I do it because it's fun. So is it a side hustle? Yes and no. I've been distracted by other things. It's not my main business. I'm not like a streamer. But and now if you look me up on the web, they call me the YouTuber, which kind of makes me cringe a little bit. But, whatever. It's good. It's good. I like YouTube. I'm back on the stream because I'm thinking of stepping up my YouTube game a lot because I really like it. It's fun. It's fun. I love these streams are fun for me. It's like my father said to me when I was doing these brand deals, and I said, he said, what do you do? I said, I do brand deals. What's that? I said, I talk about products. I talk a lot about things. And he goes, you finally found a job that's perfect for you. Sir, give me roadmap. I am computer science student, first year. Which steps follow and which steps advice give me valuable advice? My CS journey going well, and at the end of the degree, I'm getting a job, top company. Okay, so, well, Bilal, you already got a job as far as I understand. Congratulations, that's fantastic. Well, just keep refining your skills, number one. Learn AI, number two. And three, become an amazing communicator. Be somebody that everybody understands, everybody wants to be around. Make people's lives easier with your presence. So go in there and have the spirit of wanting to help others accomplish their goals. It will come back at you tenfold. It's so powerful. The number two thing that recruiters look for when they're interviewing candidates is how personal they are, how easy it is to get along with them. One of my mentors told me a long time ago, he said, Stef, I'd rather work with a moderately talented guy who's fun, easy to get along with, communicates well, than a super talented asshole. So don't be the asshole. Be a nice guy, and that's my advice to you, and you'll be fantastic. Stef, we miss YouTube Live. Make it a routine again, please. Mohammed, I think I'm doing a routine. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the thumbs. That's a subtle hint. I appreciate the thumbs. What do we got? 110 viewers and 42 thumbs. That's not good. Come on. You say it is AI time golden opportunity. So what tech stack would you recommend? I would recommend WebStack. Get through the foundations as quickly as possible. Then start learning AI. Learn the large language models. Learn about agents. Learn about MCP. Learn about the different language models, their strengths, their weaknesses. And then start implementing. So for example, what I did, I wanted to learn about the models. I said I wanted to build a fitness app to do certain things. My fitness app, you take a photo of the food and gives you a breakdown of all the macros, tells you how much more you can eat today, blah, blah, blah. It does all this like this. Because I used to hate doing that manually, where I had to figure out how much chicken is that? I don't know. Is that 4 ounces of chicken? Is it 5 ounces? I don't know. How much rice is that, So I built a fitness app based on my personal need, and this allowed me to understand how training and prompting an agent is, It's not trivial, by the way. It's not trivial. So yeah, that's my recommendation. What else? I have a question because it makes me angry. Okay, we'll deal with Stefan's anger. I have to answer, right? I have a question for you because it makes me angry. I am currently a mid-Java software developer and my company is acting weirdly. They are trying to switch us to AI, ML development. Well, yeah, I can understand. You like what you do, and unfortunately, that's this. Sometimes you got to roll with it. I would consider it a challenge. Say to myself, okay, I'm a great Java developer here. I'm going to take all those Java development skills, all the logical skills, the problem-solving skills, the ability to structure things in a coherent manner. Take those skills and bring them into AI and ML and become the best mother effing, I don't want to demonetize, right? You got to become the best mother effing AI ML developer in the game. A friend of mine did that, where he embraced AI in his company way before others. He works there. He's 15 years developer. And now he's the guru at the business. He's the guru. He's the go-to guy. He made himself far more valuable at the business by being the go-to person now. They're all having to do AI, and he has people there who did not want to do it. But now he's the top nerd because of it. So yeah, that's my recommendation. All right. All right. Can you tell us more about personas? Is it essentially just spending time to effectively train an AI on a specific task? Yeah. So one of the things that you do is that you say to the AI, this is what I did. I said, okay, AI, we're going to turn you into the world's greatest living fitness trainer. And but these are the principles that you follow. It's psychology first. And we're going to use the principles based on Robert Cialdini, Kahneman, Crimmins, and blah, 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 blah. We are keto adjacent. We're going to use a pulsing technique. So I gave it a very specific framework to work within. I didn't want to go off on all these different tangents, you know? And then once you give it a very solid framework like that in the form of a prompt, kind of like the master prompt, then I started working with it. And as I worked with it, and it would do this, it would do this, it would do this, it would go off out of scope. And I would pull it back in. I said, no. When this happens, you do this. You don't go out here. You don't go out here. You do this. And I kept dealing with all these edge cases. And you keep tightening the game. You keep tightening the game. So its responses become much more focused. Yeah. So that's how you train the AI. Thanks for your responses. Absolute truth. All right. Would you suggest keep learning PHP or go to JavaScript for blind-oriented apps? Yeah, no worries. What I would do is I would do a little research out there about what languages and technologies that blind-oriented apps are leveraging now and where the opportunity lies. And then I would make my choice based on that. Make sense? All right, how are we doing? Okay, all right, guys, I've done the hour. I should go off. I got to go for a little walk and coffee. I hope this stream was informative and entertaining for you guys. I will leave it up in the archive so you can access it. Let me know what you think. Comment on the, what do they call it, video on demand, the VO. Comment, let me know what you think. I'd appreciate the thumbs up. And we're good. All right, cheers, guys. I hope you had a good time. I did. Cheers. I'll do my ASMR.